Welcome back everyone to more career mode gameplay of NASCAR Heat 5. And in our most recent video at Charlotte, we came away with a great finish. We were just outside the top 10 and it was much better than I thought we were going to do at that track. As I talked about, that is one of my least favorite tracks in this particular game. Not necessarily in real life, but in this game it is simply not a fun track for me. But now we're ready to head on to Kansas. Now you notice in the top right hand corner, we have $3.6 million, so not quite enough to do our next upgrade. In fact, if we hop over to my teammates, you can see in our departments, the next upgrade will be for us. Now, we could hold off and do engine or suspension and get them to 100, but that is going to take $8 million. So our best bet right now is to stick with step by step each of the three categories, which means Aero is next, and that's going to take just over $4 million. So this next race at Kansas will give us enough, regardless of where we finish, it'll give us enough to go from 90 to 95 on Aero, and that is going to be excellent. That's the kind of stuff that we need because ultimately, not only are we trying to make it into the playoffs this season, but we're trying to fully upgrade our car so that we can eventually contend for a championship. So let's hop over to the season standings. Now, we looked briefly at these at the end of our previous video, but let's take a look at just sort of where we stand right now. I'm going to hop over to the playoff standings, and you notice that we're in 14th position, but that's not the most important part of this. If I scroll down a little bit and we go to 16th, and you notice that 16th is pretty close to us. 15th and 16th are not very far behind. Of course, Alex Bowman only 1 point behind us. The important thing here is look at the difference between where we are and where Kurt Busch is. 359 points to our 274. So in all likelihood, unless he gets a string of bad luck, we're not going to have any shot of catching him. So our focus at this point has got to be building a lead over these two guys behind us. And that way, we give ourselves the best shot. Now, we already know we're going to be in trouble if we continue having more and more first-time winners this season. However, for right now, we are in pretty good shape because we can afford to have 2 more first-time winners and still be in the playoffs right now based on points. So that just gives you an idea of where we are. It's not really realistic to think we're going to catch Kurt Busch in points. And it's also not realistic to think we're probably going to be able to get a victory. Now, there's a couple of tracks where we might be able to pull that off if things go extremely well for us and we catch some breaks with lap traffic and that kind of thing. But realistically, we're going to need to get in on points. And right now, we're setting up very nicely as long as we keep having these good finishes. So hopping back over to today's event, we're going to be running 35 laps at Kansas, and so that means we need to get ready with our car. So, of course, we're going to be using Speedway chassis number 1 today. Nothing to do on the engine, nothing to do on Aero, but we do have a little bit of work to do on the suspension, so we'll go ahead and cue that up. And then as far as upcoming tracks, we've got Kansas today, Michigan coming up, and then, of course, Sonoma. We don't even have a road course chassis, nor do I want one, particularly in this game. I'm really hoping that changes in the future of this series. But for right now, I just do not enjoy running the road courses with the physics and tires that we have. And then after that, we'll be going to Chicago and then Pocono. So a lot of speedways coming up in the near future. So for that reason, let's go ahead and continue working on both of the speedway chassis. All right, so that means we've got 2 folks left to work on the short track, and that should have everyone ready to go. Now, as far as another car, at some point we will want to do that, but right now I'm simply focused on getting everything done we can on fully upgrading our existing equipment. But 4.9 million is not that bad. If you think that's about 4 races as we continue on, especially as we get around that $1 million per race number. So about 4 races and we'll be able to afford a new chassis. Okay, start work. All right, get those done. That means Speedway chassis number 1 is now the car. So let's go ahead and select that. Okay, all the pre-race is taken care of. Let's head to Kansas. All right, folks, it is race time here at Kansas. We'll be starting in the 15th position, which I feel like was pretty good. Now, keep in mind, at Kansas, the high side is where it's at. That is definitely where all the speed is. You don't want to be trapped on the very bottom. Down below that, well, in fact, that bottom groove you see marked with the hash there, that's where you really don't want to be, because it's hard. With less banking down there, it's really hard to maintain speed. So 15th position, well, in fact, it looks like we moved up some because we're in the outside lane. So we'll take it. Outside lane's where we want to be anyway. So starting in the 14th position, again, 35 laps. Only 9 laps here in stage number 1. Ooh, easy there, Jimmy.
Hold your line, got one inside.
I'm really not looking forward to having a NASCAR game that does not include Jimmy Johnson. It's just not looking forward to that. But of course, that's what's going to be happening right now.
Still there?
All right, so right now I just have to sort of get my groove up here, find my marks where I need to turn in. I'll be lifting off the throttle a little bit, not necessarily because I have to, but more than anything, it'll just be to try to settle the car, make sure the rotation is there like I need it to be, that kind of thing. I was really hoping the 21 was going to give me room there.
You got room, you're clear there.
Yeah, easing off the throttle a little bit definitely helps the car to settle on corner entry, and right now we're finding plenty of speed out here in the outside groove. You never know exactly what you're going to get from the AI or how fast they're going to be, and if you run that higher groove, are you going to be able to keep up with them? But it certainly looks like we're in pretty good shape there. Now, from time to time, of course, we're going to need to move down the track.
You got room.
It just won't be the preferred groove. I'll only want to go down here when I absolutely have to. Such as in front of us, it looks like the 48 is really running that high line.
Still there inside. All clear.
So it looks like if we're going to get past the 48, if we ever get to him, then we're going to have to go to the middle or lower portion of the track. But so far, so good. Car's handling quite nicely. And the closer we can get to top 10s, the more that helps us in the points.
Go. You got this.
You have to be careful of that seam right there. You can see the black seam running along that upper groove. If you get on that seam, mess around in that vicinity, particularly get your left front on it, like I'm doing here, you can get the car really loose. Now, I like to play around with it just a little bit to help the car to rotate, but I don't want to play around too much. But it can definitely help the car to rotate. All right, for all intents and purposes, I was just wide open right there through 1 and 2. I'm always conscious of trying to save a little bit of tire. Rather than going qualifying laps each and every time. But we are basically wide open at this point. Yeah, car feels great up here. Unfortunately, we're not making a whole lot of headway. We might be able to catch this 12 car by the end of stage 1, and that would be important because if you notice, we're in 11th position. 10th position would give us a stage point. So I'm going to try to get down here and draft him as best I can. I'm also aware that there are guys coming up behind us with a head of steam. That is not going to help our cause.
All right, you're clear there.
Yeah, that 10 car is trying to spoil things for us, as he's found some speed. Alright, so again, just going to try to draft these guys as best I
One more to
can.
go.
Alright, now we got to figure out where we're going to go. Alright, I was hoping he was going to do that. I thought the 12 car was going to go high and take that groove away from us.
Careful, still there.
But he didn't. He stayed down in the middle of bottom of the track, and that really helps us.
Still there. Nice driving that stage.
Okay,
Robert.
not too bad. 12th position. Basically held our own from where we started, but this is doing exactly what we need to do. Now, no direct points there. We will not be pitting. No reason to pit there. Now we're going to figure out, are we going to pit at the end of stage 2 and try to make our way back
We're
up through
going
the
green.
field?
Are you ready now? Got one peeking inside.
All right, so we know we got 35 laps
Keep digging.
total.
10 to go. Careful.
So it looks
still
like
there.
we're going to have around 15 laps in the final stage.
Hold your line. Got one inside.
So if we're going to have 15 laps in that final stage, then the question becomes, is 15 laps enough time
Stay high
for us
up
to
here.
make use of those new tires?
Inside.
Oh, got in a little too
All
deep
right,
there.
you're clear there. Inside.
All right, again, I want to get to the outside of these guys. I do not want to be cramped up
Careful,
on the
still there.
bottom. Under any circumstances, that's not really a good idea for us. But particularly now, because we're down on horsepower and grip.
Careful. Still there.
So that's two reasons that we don't want any part of that bottom groove if we can stand it.
Careful. Still there.
But again, no complaints out of the car. The car is doing just fine. And you can see so far, we're not losing really any speed compared to the AI. That's another thing I really watch out for in stage 2, because if we start falling back,
Careful. Still there.
if we start to fall back, then hello.
Clear low, bud.
All right, well, this is not where I wanted to end up. I want to go middle.
Stay on the bottom. Got one peeking inside. Clear low, bud.
All right, trying to get clear on the
One
outside.
peeking inside.
Ouch, right now we're just sandwiched.
Got one peeking inside.
All right, let's see if we can get our momentum back up on this outside groove. Because I feel like the speed is still there. We were just in a terrible spot.
Hold your line. Got one inside.
All right, there we go. We got a nice run
Inside.
coming through. Oh, hello. All right, I did not know the 41 was up there. Did not know he was to our outside at all. We ended up in a sandwich, and that was not good at all. But it took me a minute to figure out what was going on, because I had zero idea that 41 car was anywhere near us. All right, so now we've fallen way back. So I'm going to have to figure out what on earth we can do. On the good side of things, for those of you who enjoyed the pitting after the second stage, for more excitement, well, it's looking better and better.
Careful. Still there.
I didn't get the entry I wanted there. I hesitated just a little bit because I wasn't sure where those cars in front of me were going. And as always, I'm trying to avoid contact. But yeah, not looking so good for us right now. We're not necessarily falling back so much, but I can't pull back in on these guys. So that tells me that 19th is where we were probably going to end up anyway. But getting pushed to the bottom or middle of the track, this simply didn't help our cause any. As you can see, even getting through the corner pretty good right now. Can't do anything with them. I cannot. Can't really pull in on them, even though some of these guys are fighting 2 and 3 wide. So that pretty much makes the decision for me. We'll be pitting at the end of this stage.
Left, bud. Keep it going.
Because I feel pretty confident that we can get from 40th at least back to 20th where we are in this area right now. Oh. Yep, got in there too high.
White flag.
The real interesting part of this is look behind us. There's nobody there. I mean, there's nobody there for quite a ways. So those guys have really lost touch. The second half of the field has really lost touch with the first half. Then you can look up ahead of us. Other than this, whatever it is, 5 or 6 cars immediately in front of us grouped together, it is fairly spread out. So there we go. Not the finish we wanted in stage number 2. No doubt about that. The AI are tough at Kansas. Didn't expect them to be quite that tough. All right, so let's go ahead and pit. I'm not going to make any adjustments because I feel like the car itself is fine. We're getting basically all we can get out of this thing. Running it wide open or all but wide open.
Be ready here. Hold your line. Got one inside.
All right, so it turns out after they count the caution flags in between stages, we end up with about 12 laps remaining in the race, so even less than I thought. I keep forgetting about the
Stay high up here.
The caution laps in between the stages.
Still there.
All right, here's where we can make up a bunch of spots.
All right, you're clear there.
He's right here at the end. Oh, give me some room. Thank you so much. He did not have to do that. He could have easily come right up in front of us.
Stay high up there. Clear low, bud.
It's like the parting of the Red Sea.
You got room. You're clear.
I mean, it's almost like when you're at the back of the field, these guys see you coming and they just sort of move out of the way and make room.
You're clear all around there.
All right, but you can see, I mean, when we have new tires.
All right, 10 to go. Keep it nice and smooth for us.
All right, let's get back up here.
Still there.
Yeah, let's get back up here on top. Oh, look out.
Hold your line. Clear low.
So right now we're just in the mode of going where they're not.
Still there.
And thankfully the new tires are really going to help us out in doing that. All right, so we're back up to 20 seconds. So as far as I'm concerned, pitting has already been worth it. All right, the 20 car was trying to block us there on corner entry, and it almost worked.
All right, you're clear there.
All right, so 21st position. Now, technically, we need 2 more spots to get back to where we were when we pitted. But at this point, yeah, it was definitely worth it. Also, you'll notice our lap times at this point really haven't changed much with the new tires. So this is kind of like you hear them talk about at particularly Daytona, where they pit sometimes for tires, not because it's going to give them, you know, any extra speed, because of maneuverability. The car just feels better with new tires. You can put it in the proper locations on entry and exit easier, but you're not necessarily going any faster.
Careful, still there.
And I'm basically driving the car the same right now. The difference is, if we need to go to the middle or the bottom, I have more grip than the AI have because I'm the only one that pitted. So it's a little bit easier to do that.
Stay on the bottom here. Stay on the bottom.
All right, yep, there's that extra grip there. I can just make that groove work around the middle and give ourselves a shot.
Careful.
Still trying to avoid that very bottom groove.
You got room. You're clear there.
There we go. Really wanted to get in position to slide up in front of the 12 car. We've been around him a lot. Or was that the 21? I can't tell. Wasn't paying close enough attention, but we've spent a lot of time around the 12 car in this race. All right, so what do we got? About 3 laps to go, 3 or 4. And we're up to 17th, so yeah, definitely a net gain from pitting. And we got 3 cars right in front of us that I think we have a realistic shot of getting, especially with 4 laps left. So as long as I run the groove I need to run, particularly right now, corner entry is where it's all at for us. If we hit corner entry right, and I don't overdrive it on corner entry,
Careful, still there.
then we should be fine. If you get corner entry right, it really helps the rest of the corner a lot
Still
easier.
there. Careful, still there. Still there. Still there. Hold your line, stay high.
Oh, you can see, yeah, when we hit the corner right, and that's simply easing out of the throttle just a little bit before we get to the corner. So backing out of it a little bit early.
Still there.
Don't have to really back out of it at all, particularly in turns 1 and 2. But I backed out of it just a little bit there. All right, I do not want to give up this high side. All right, looks like I'm going to have to. No, maybe not. Thought the 8 car was going to stay high. He did not.
White flag, dig driver. Still there.
Ooh, white flag. All right, we got to make this thing happen.
Hold your line, got 1 inside.
All right, we need a great run down the back straightaway. Oh, I was afraid he was going to do that. All right, so good move by the 8 car to pull right up in front of me. All right, let's see if I can make this happen. All right, we got the slide on him, and we'll take it. 14th position. Again, not too bad. We qualified in 15th. First stage went well. Second stage, not so much. But then the third and final stage, come home in 14th position. Let's see what it does to both our money as well as our points position. And I think it's going to be very good news on both fronts. All right, so money, ooh. Yeah, Kansas paid a lot less than I was hoping for. In fact, about 100 grand less than I was hoping for. So 869,000. Again, we're going to be able to do that next upgrade anyway, but always looking to maximize our payouts. Now, point standings. Okay, so we've built a little bit more of a lead. You notice that Alex Bowman is now back in front of us, so he must have had a great finish in today's race. But we've built a little bit of a lead over Clint Boyer, so that's good. We'll take it. We just got to keep plugging away at it, and hopefully Alex Bowman doesn't have too many more great finishes like that, because he had a huge race today at Kansas. We do not need that. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and stick around for more career mode gameplay in NASCAR Heat 5.